Welcome to the guide to my favorite starter build, Occultist Bane plus Essence Drain. The good news is that build is still excellent for clearing the maps as it was in previous league. I tested the build in tier 16 rare maps and it is still easy to clear the map. And also the good news, the price for the build is not changed. The only difference from the main difference from the last league is I changed the links for my Bane. Now Bane is linked with Despair, Control Destruction, Punishment, Swift Affliction, and Void Manipulation, and Temporal Chains and Efficacy is removed from supports. In case you follow my build from previous league, that is the main change for the build. Also, if you didn't use Enduring Internal Mana, it is possible you may need to use in this league. This build is beginner friendly and extremely easy to play. Your main damage skill is Bane, and most of the time inside the maps you will only need to cast Bane and use your Flame Dash as movement skill. Any curse link with the Bane will be applied to the monsters, so you don't need to self-cast those curses. At the moment I'm using Despair and Punishment. If you want to have even more defense with this build, you can use third curse by using Whispers of the Doom on passive 3, and then you can replace Void Manipulation with third curse like Temporal Chains, or maybe use different socket colors and use Enfeeble as your third curse. You will have more damage, but around 20% less damage. You will have more defense, but around 20% less damage. I prefer to run just two curses, Despair and Punishment. Your main defense is very high energy shield. It is with this build it is easy to get to have over 9000 energy shield after you reach level 90 or close to level 90, and with this high energy shield you also have very high energy shield recharge per second. At the moment I have over 5000, and if I avoid damage for less than 2 seconds, around 1.8 seconds, my energy shield recharge will start with 5000 per second. If you cannot avoid damage, you can use Val Discipline. With Val Discipline, with this buff, it is almost impossible to die. Also, with this build, we use Wither Totems. After 2 casts, you can have 3 totems at the same time. These totems apply stacking debuff, 15 stacks, and because we can use 3 totems, I think it is around 1 second or maybe even less than 1 second to apply 15 stacks of this debuff. And when monsters have 15 stacks, your Essence Drain and Bane will do over 100% more damage because we also use Corruption on our passive 3. Default it is 90% more damage, but because of Corruption it will be over 100% more damage. This Wither Totems is mostly used on bosses to increase our damage, or inside the maps if you have some dangerous monsters like Expedition or maybe Harbinger boss or something like that. As I said, your moving skill is Flame Dash, and the last skill on my action bar is Val Righteous Fire, which I use to increase my damage. It is optional. Instead of Val Righteous Fire, you can use skill like Val Grace to increase your defense, or some other skill you maybe like. So
Yes.
most of the time it will be just Bane and using your movement skill inside the map. So now let me show you the build inside one tier 16 rare map. So here is the map.
I like it better this way. When I'm ready, I'm not before.
Let's go for the boss. As you can see, because of these explosions which you get with, let's see, with a profane bloom, the Bane is still excellent for clearing the maps. And here is the boss. Okay. There is 6 bosses. So this could take a bit because our single target damage is low because our essence drain is only on 4 links, but our defense is excellent with over 9000 energy shield. It just take a bit little more time to kill those 6 bosses. Okay, now let me show you the expedition. The map is tier 16 rare map, uh, and it has 25% chaos resistance for monsters, so our damage is lower because of that. Okay, and here is the expedition.
Hello again, local.
Let's just clear these monsters. So I can look on. Okay, we have here Harbinger. So the good thing about Bane, it is a range skill, so you can always stay at the range and that way avoid the damage. And let's see, stay at the range. Apply Bane, post cast totems, and here is logbook. Expedition, maybe one more. As you can see, it is easy to clear expedition. Now let's talk about the build cost. For this starter build, you will need to invest between 2 and 3 exalted orbs. Here is a list of all items and how much you should pay for each one. My next video will be the guide on how to get these items cheap from trade. Meanwhile, you can watch my video from the previous link. This build is CI, meaning we are using chaos inoculation on our passive tree. So we are immune to chaos damage and to poison, which is very nice. And our main defense is high energy shield, the more the better. Our main skill is Bane and Essence Drain, and the both skills are Chaos, Damage over Time skills. So, on our wand, the main mod we need to have is +1 to level of all Chaos spell skill gems, and minimum 20 to Chaos Damage over Time multiplier, and you should look for minimum 40% increase spell damage. So on this one I have 54. There is a cheaper version and I like this bit more expensive. On cheaper version like this one, uh, as you can see, it has a bit less spell damage. It has +1 to level of all chaos spell skill gems and empty is it prefix or suffix? Suffix. It is suffix. Here is one with a bit more spell damage. This one has 81% increased spell damage, also empty suffix, and this is the version of cheap wand which you can find on trade. Now all you need to do is to use your crafting bench and add up to 20% chaos damage over time multiplier. This is the way to get very cheap wand. A bit more expensive is an optional. You don't need to use wand like this. Is wand which already has chaos damage over time multiplier with some nice spell damage, and also optional mods on the wand I need to mention are cast speed and increased damage over time and intelligence. On all these items you can have intelligence, and intelligence is important because 2 intelligence gives you 1 mana and 5 intelligence gives you 1% energy shield. So more intelligence, more energy shield and more mana, and that is the reason we use utmost intellect on our passive tree, which will increase this intelligence even more. So the more intelligence you have on your items, the better. Now next is a shield. You need to use shield with at least 200 energy shield. Main mod is +1 to level of all chaos spell skill gems, and look for one with at least 30-40 intelligence and some resistance. Next is body armor. You should look for cheap 6-link white energy shield based armor, if possible with item level 100 or item level 86 or higher, so you can roll the best energy shield mods. So you spend 15 or 20 chaos on white body armor. The best bases are Necromancer Silks, um, Occultist Vestment, Val Regalia, and one more, which I always forgot the name. You can check PO Wiki for the best energy shield based body armors. And those 4 you should look to buy. So now after you get this white armor, you need to use, where is it? Use armor scraps, make 20% quality. Now use transmutation and use usually around 50 alterations until you get tier 1 for increased energy shield or tier 1 to maximum energy shield. Use regal, use 1 regal, make body armor rare, then just add the second energy shield mod with your crafting bench. This way you can get very cheap for around 400 energy shield 6-link body armor. Next is helmet. On helmet you need to use one with at least 240 energy shield with, if possible, 40 or more intelligence and some resistance. Gloves, you should use fingerless steel gloves with minimum 130, 150 energy shield with some resistance and intelligence. Fingerless steel gloves are very nice because of implicit up to 16% increase spell damage. In case you want to go with a bit less energy shield, around 100, you can use on your crafting bench. Is it flask? Yeah. Instead of another energy shield mod, you can add up to 28% increased damage during any flask effect, which is also nice solution. Next are boots. These boots I use at the moment are optional. It has cannot be frozen. You can search for boots like this one with empty prefix. This boots was without this bench mod, and I paid only 8 chaos, so it is possible to find very cheap with empty prefix, and then you just use your crafting bench to add another energy shield mod and get boots around 150. These rare boots are nice because you can have resistance and intelligence on them. If you cannot find these rare boots, you can use unique Sin Trek boots, which are also nice solution for this starter build. If you want to go a bit to invest a bit more, you can look for boots like this with hybrid increased movement speed and chance to gain onslaught like this. As you can see, this is a hybrid mod. It can roll up to 30% increased movement speed. And I looked for one with empty prefix, and then I just used my crafting bench to add cannot be frozen. If you wish more defense, and you can look for hybrid mod that has movement speed and cannot be chilled instead of gain onslaught, which is very nice for defense. And then add on top of that, you can add cannot be frozen. So you can have cannot be frozen and cannot be chilled on your boots. If you want to go budget, go with boots like this. It should cost you around 5 to 10 chaos, or even cheaper if you go with Sin Trek. Next is the belt. This unique belt cost just 1 chaos, and it is excellent for this starter build. It gives us 20% increase maximum energy shield and 50% increase energy shield recharge rate. That is one of the reasons why you can have over 5000 energy shield recharge per second, which is excellent defense. Okay, next are rings. On rings, main mod is tier 1 to maximum energy shield, so look for minimum plus 44 to maximum energy shield. Look for a ring with intelligence, at least plus 40 and some resistance. As you can see on this one I have plus 51 intelligence, and on this one I have plus 52. Next is Amulet. On Amulet, main mods is tier 1 to maximum energy shield and tier 1 increase maximum energy shield. If you cannot find with tier 1, you can use Amulet with tier 2. And also look for Amulet with intelligence at least plus 40. Now when you get Amulet, you can then invest around 20-21 chaos and add Anointment allocates overcharge. This notable, here it is the best notable and best anointment for this build considering the price. So your the build cost will stay in the budget range, and you get 8% chance to gain power, frenzy, and endurance. We don't care about power, but frenzy, 3 frenzy charges give us 12% increase, more damage, not increase, 12% more damage, and endurance charge give us additional defense, which on physical damage, and these endurance charges are excellent for our immortal call. As you can see, 15% less physical damage taken per endurance charge removed. So, and also 20% increased buff duration per endurance charge removed. So not only Immortal Call will be better, but also will last longer. Okay, that was Amulet. The next are Flask. My advice, if you don't have cannot be frozen on your boots, is to use 2 flasks with immunity to freeze. Usually I would go with enduring internal mana with immunity to freeze, and one more like this one. Quartz flask is very nice for defense. You get phasing and chance to dodge. And then you can use two, maybe two flask with immunity to burning. Burning is very bad for this energy shield build. And also you can use 1 or 2 flask with immunity to bleeding, and which removes bleeding and removes corrupted blood, depending on what you use. So I have immunity cannot be frozen, so I use 2 with corrupted, which removes corrupted blood, which is most dangerous. And also, uh, why we need to remove this bleeding and burning? As long we take damage, we cannot start energy shield recharge. So you need to avoid damage for, in this build, around 1.8 seconds. And then you will get this high energy shield recharge. Okay, and also 2 more items left. That is energy from within unique jewel, which is very nice to have to get more energy shield. And the last one is one rare cobalt jewel. Main mods are 4% to chaos damage over time multiplier and 8% increase maximum energy shield. Uh, Optional mods are for dexterity or intelligence if you miss attributes, or maybe you can go with one with additional resistance in case you miss resistance. So those were all items necessary for, and all items you need for this build. And now let's talk about gems and links. The most important is our Bane, and supports are Despair, Control Distraction, Punishment, Swift Affliction, and Void Manipulation. I removed Temporal Chains and Efficacy. Efficacy is nerfed big time, and uh, now it gives the least damage. Punishment I did not use in previous league, which is good news, because Punishment is very nice to get additional damage. These curse enemies take 80% increased damage while on low life, meaning when enemies have less than 50% of health, they will take additional damage. But this text is a bit confusing. Uh, it means you will have 80% more damage. So it is calculated on your full damage. Your full damage will get 80% increased damage. So that is for us 80% more damage for this build for both Bane and Essence Drain. And because this also has with quality 10% increase effect curse, that should be 88% more damage when enemies are on low life, or meaning less than 50%. Next for damage is Essence Drain. It is 4 linked, and you need to use Control Distraction, Void Manipulation, and Swift Affliction. If you don't have these colors, or you're missing chromatics to make these colors, you can always use efficacy as blue gem if you need. The difference is damage is not so big, so you can't wait until you have chromatics to make colors. Next important links are, where is my Wither? Here is the Wither. You need to use Wither, multiple totems, spell totem, and faster casting. Faster casting is optional. It just will give us option to apply this 15 stacks debuffs a little faster. So it is not a must. Uh, Also very important for defense is setup for cast when damage taken, Immortal Call, and increased duration. This setup should be better to use on gloves, let's say, and the last link could be Righteous Fire or Val Grace. That way this Righteous Fire or Val Grace would benefit from increased duration, but I was a bit lazy to change my colors on my gloves. So that is the reason I don't use that setup. To make these three red color socket on your those are off colors for the shield, you can use your crafting bench. Start with sockets. Start with two sockets, then make those two sockets red. Where is two sockets red? Here is at least two red sockets. So you need to spend 25 chromatics. Next, just make three. And if you miss red, go back to two. So 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3 until you hit the third red socket. That is the same way if you wish to make three red sockets on gloves. And to finish gloves, you would just craft four sockets and then just use fusings to link it. Okay, next on my helmet I have where is my flame dash, arcane surge, and faster casting. I'm using level 20 flame dash, and you always should mouse over your flame dash on action bar, and you can see here it says cost 32 mana. That means I can use level 7 arcane surge. After spending a total of 32 mana, I will get arcane surge. So I need just once to cast flame dash to get arcane surge buff. You could add second wind as the last gem support on this flame dash, but that makes cost a bit more. Is it worth it to have? Maybe. I think flame dash then cost 54 mana or something like that, and it is it can be a little tricky on your mana, but it is optional if you wish to try and use second wind. On did I? Yeah, on my wand, last three gems, I have Malevolence, uh, Discipline, my main two auras. So those are two auras I use, meaning I have 85% reserved mana. At the moment, I have 292 mana, which is enough uh, to cast Bane, move. Mana regeneration is nice. Most of the time, you don't need to use mana flask. And the last gem here is Val Righteous Fire. With Val Righteous Fire, you get 19% more spell damage. That is more spell damage for both Essence Drain and uh, Bane, but it can be tricky because you will be hit with sacrifice 60% of your total energy shield, so your energy shield will drop to 40%. So be sure to, when you use Val Righteous Fire, you are not close to the monster, and you will not get hit in next few seconds. Instead of Val Righteous Fire, it is totally okay to use. It is very, very nice actually to use uh, um, Val Grace and go for more defense. And of course, as I said, it is better to have this setup for cast and damage taken on your gloves, so that way this gem will benefit from increased duration. Also optional, you don't need to use cast and damage taken. You can just use Immortal Call with increased duration. Put your Immortal Call, where is Immortal Call? Here is the Immortal Call, on your left mouse click, and every time you move, when Immortal Call is not on cooldown, you will cast Immortal Call. That is an optional way to use this Immortal Call. I prefer to use, when I have sockets, I prefer to use cast when damage taken, especially if I have this setup inside my gloves for additional duration for either Righteous Fire, Val Righteous Fire, or Val Grace. Did I forget some gems? I think that was all.
When I'm ready.
Long day.
In my pinned comment under this video, you can find a path of building, Pastebin link for this build. If you need the leveling information, you can check notes in this PoB, and inside notes you can see what skills I used for leveling. As you see, I use Holy Flame Totem, Flame Wall, and Fireball until level 24, and then I start using Bane and Essence Drain. Also, in these notes you can find some additional information for the build, which can help you while if you decide to play this build. Also, you can check the leveling trees so you can see what passives I picked as I level up. For Ascendancy in your first labyrinth, be sure to pick Profane Bloom. Cursed enemies your minion skill have 40% chance to explode, dealing a quarter of their maximum life as chaos damage. This is the reason why Bane is still excellent with clearing the maps. Next, in the next labyrinth, pick Malediction. You can apply an additional curse, so after that you can link second curse with Bane. In next labyrinth, you should pick Void Beacon, and in the last labyrinth, pick Withering Presence. We don't need this 60% to chaos resistance as we run chaos inoculation. We have chaos inoculation, but 15% more chaos damage is huge damage buff, and also nearby hindered enemies deal 15% reduced damage over time, which is nice. This every second inflict bitter on nearby enemies for 15 seconds is nice, but we also use bitter totems, so we are able to apply these bitter stacks much faster. The main buff with bonus from this withering presence is 15% more chaos damage. Now here is my Pantheon. Be sure to use Soul of the Brine King. You cannot be stunned if you've been stunned or blocked a stunning hit in the past 2 seconds. That is excellent defense. Try to upgrade this Soul of the Brine King as soon as possible. For 30% increased stun and block recovery, you need to capture boss inside Iceberg map. You cannot be frozen if you've been frozen recently, that is in the last 4 seconds, which is also excellent. You need to capture boss of Forbidden Forest, I think tier 9 or tier 10 map. And for the last 50% reduced effect of chill on you, you need to capture boss of Reef map, tier 15 map. That is a bit more difficult, but around level 80, 85, you can defeat that boss. With upgraded Soul of the Brine King, it is much easier to stay alive. And also for small, I'm using Soul of Aberrath, and with this upgraded version, you have 50% reduced ignite duration on you, which is excellent defense. So you are unaffected by burning ground. If you have any questions about this build, you can leave them in comments, contact me inside the game, or join my Discord server. Discord server invite you can find in my pinned comment under this video. This will be all for now. Thanks for watching and see you next time.